Okay, let's talk fishing in the Florida Keys. Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Before I get started today, I just want to make sure everybody checks out Brooke Chris Outdoors YouTube channel today. She released her portion of the video that was shot while we did the land shark charter a couple weeks ago. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Time seems to run together, which was an awesome video. But her video is fantastic as well. And what's so special about her video is what I really like, aside from the fishing, and she's a great angler. Not to mention that she duck hunts, and I didn't know that because I grew up duck hunting. I don't know if a lot of you guys know that, but I grew up duck hunting on the Mississippi River, and I spent a lot of time doing that as a kid and all through high school, and it's just like everything else in life, things just seem to go in different directions. But I no longer duck hunt, but I have a lot of respect for people that do. It's a hard sport. It's super challenging. I just love it to death. So what I'm really looking forward to is seeing her duck hunting video. And I think that she shot one here not too long ago. So that one's going to be released for all you guys that like to duck hunt. And it looks like she did very well. Also, too, that in her videos, her hook and cook is, she just does an awesome job, man. She did that in the Good Karma video. Where they caught all the wahoo. They had a big sushi party, and she shows you how to do the rolls and the cuts and stuff. And if you've seen how I did sushi with Melinda, we are not fancy. I was like, but I learned a lot. So make sure you guys check out the video. It's really great, and watch her other videos. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the duck hunting video. So, and I think they may have did a cook had made these like some bacon wrapped duck appetizers that look really good. And don't get me started. So I could talk about duck hunting forever, but today I want to talk about kingfish in the Florida Keys. On my charters, the only time I will target kingfish is if I get a specific request to target them. 90% of the clients that fish with me do not want to target kingfish, nor do they want to eat them, because they fished on a previous charter where the guides have told them that kingfish taste delicious and they should have it vacuum packed and sent home. And this is a true story. These are true stories, guys. I'm just telling you like it is. So they get the kingfish back home and they thaw it out, and they invite their friends over and they go to cook it, and it's horrible. Kingfish is not good after it's been frozen for long periods of time. Now, it does taste extremely, I've had it. I mean, it tastes really good when it's been cut and fried on the same day. Habanos at Tavernier Creek makes a mean beer battered kingfish. It's actually kind of lethal. So, but I will, for our clients, we will once in a while I'll have Habanos fry us up some at the end of the day, and just to show them that it does taste delicious on the same day, and if you don't like freeze it. So I think it does extend into the next day, but I haven't tried it. So I've only tried it on day one because I have to show people that it does taste extremely good right off the fillet table. So, but Habanos has a special recipe for their beer battered kingfish, and I have to tell you, man, it's like every year I do take a couple kingfish and I give them to Habanos, and they fry up a big platter, and then I usually just feed a few of my clients. Like I said, just to show them how good it tastes. And they look at me like I'm crazy, and I was like, you got to do it. And I even did this once that I probably shouldn't have, but I had a client, great client, still fishes with me, and we sat down to have some lunch after a morning half, and we had a dolphin and we had a kingfish, and I had Habanos make them exactly the same, okay? We made them exactly the same beer battered, and I had him serve the kingfish, the beer battered kingfish, to the client, and I took the dolphin. And my client scarfed that kingfish down without hesitation. And he goes, man, that dolphin was good. I looked at him and I go, what do you mean? You just ate kingfish. And he looked at me like I was like, what? I was like, yes. So that just goes to show you. Now, if you're in Tavernier and you have some kingfish, I would highly suggest that you bring it to Habanos and let them do it, because it's like I said, they're beer battered. Kingfish is the absolute best. And that takes a lot for me to say that. So, but give it a shot. If like you said, if you're in the Upper Keys, you want to do a hook and cook, I'm going to definitely do that probably next week, because I know that it's time for kingfish. And I got some good clients flying in town that we usually have some lunch afterwards and then start making plans for the next few days. I've got some guys in town that fish with me, 2 to 3 days. I got a really good client. He's been fishing with me since year one. He takes 5 days. And just, it's super nice that these guys come back, so it's always nice to try to screw with them a little bit when I cook up the kingfish. And I'll probably do it again this year. So hopefully they're not listening. So, because every year it's the same. All those things taste like shit. And when they say that, then I'm like, okay, now I have to fool them again, and I can usually get away with it. But I don't specifically target them. Now, I can't control what bites. So what happens is once the weather cools down, the troll bite kind of becomes obsolete. At least for me. I just don't like to troll when it's cold. I like to go with the live bait. And I like to run live bait deeps on downriggers. I'll put a few on top and all that good stuff. The standard 2 up, 2 down rig. Might throw out a teaser out the back, depending on how things are going in the sea conditions. I like to slow troll with live goggle eyes, and kingfish love live goggle eyes. Oh my gosh. It's crazy. So before I take clients on charters with live bait, I have to tell them, I have to specifically tell them that I cannot control what bites. Therefore, you need to keep your frustrations down a little bit when the kingfish are eating, because you have to be patient. You're going to have to sort through some kingfish to get to the wahoo, to get to the sailfish. Those things are going to bite. They're going to tear up everything. It's just how it goes. You got to have, during live bait season, you have to have 40 to 50 stinger rigs ready to go, so you can just easily change things out. You don't have to take the hooks out of their mouth. You can just cut the line, retie, and go back to fishing. But as far as targeting them, no way. No, I do not do that. I do not sit and chum and use the 3-hook ballyhoo rig and live line for free line for kingfish. It's just not my thing. Unless somebody wants to do that, they don't care about the action. If they want some great action, catching kingfish on light tackle is great. It's awesome. It's just a lot of fun to reel them in. But honestly, people that have booked with me in the past, they're not into that. They want to catch the snappers, and they want to catch the sailfish, and they want to catch the glorious fish, the wahoo. So, but I have to tell them that I cannot control what bites, but I promise them that I'm just not going to target kingfish just to keep the action going. Okay? We're going to target good eating fish. We're going to target large fish. And if I can't get them to go, then we can try for some yellowtails, or we can try for some yellow eye snappers if the conditions are right in the winter. Now, rather than go out and beat yourself up outside the reef on days when you just don't think it's right, or you might struggle, I tell people, hey, let's go into the patch reefs. Okay, let's go into the patch reefs. And I've made a few people believers the last couple weeks. Then they're like, what's the patch reefs? And when I anchored them up in 15 foot of water, they thought I was pulling a fast one on them until they railed on 4 or 5 big mutton snappers that were 10 to 15 pounds on spinning rods. So they're like, oh my gosh, we can see land. We're 10 to 15 foot of water. We're not reeling fish up from 300 feet. We're not having to pull baits up and reset. And we're catching fish the whole time. So it's just a little bit different, because what happens is, I'm shifting gears a little bit here from the kingfish, guys. I think I said my piece on that stuff. And a lot of people that come to the Keys think that you have to go to the deep reefs to catch large muttons. Okay? That is totally untrue. Totally untrue. Our shallow reefs in the wintertime are thriving with large mutton snappers, just different types of porgies. Now, and porgies are delicious to eat. Their meat is firm and white. Now, a lot of people from New Jersey that come down, they don't want anything to do with them because that's what they catch up there, the upper East Coast. And I totally get that. They're coming down here to catch some different species. Now, on the patch reefs, I've caught a lot of bonefish, and I catch those bonefish when it's extremely cold. So that probably, I think we'll see that in like February and, March, April is when we'll catch a few bonefish in on the patch reefs. Nothing real big, but they're still fun to catch. And you'll be like, oh my God, it's a bonefish, and you'll catch your first bonefish. And I think my record, one day I caught 12 to 15 bonefish on one patch. But patch reef fishing is really simple. Just go back and listen to my podcast on, patch reef fishing. Now, for me, I love patch reef fishing because, especially since I have the Seakeeper now, it just makes fishing on a comfy day, makes it so much comfortable. We don't get rocked around. The boat just goes up and down, which is totally fine. I can handle that. And then I have the new spray shields, which keep the wind off of you on those colder days so you don't get cold, and you can make the, it just makes it really comfortable now on the Good Karma to patch reef fish. And one more thing about patch reef fishing. The government has really come down on us as far as regulations goes, okay? And I highly respect the FWC and NOAA, but they're really making it challenging nowadays. So, and I'm just going to voice my opinion on this really quick. Now, it's getting tougher and tougher to catch dinner for people on the patch reefs. Now, what I mean is that you're going to catch 100 fish on the patch reefs, a lot of fish, okay? But the regulations are so tight right now that you may catch 100 mutton snappers in one trip, but they all might be 17 inches, okay? They all might be 17 inches. Now, if you want to catch legal-sized mutton snappers, and if you're fishing with me, I have certain techniques for that, okay? And those techniques require patience, okay? It requires patience. The big mutton snappers just don't jump on the hook. If you get a day where they're jumping on the hook and you're catching a bunch of them, great. You're going to have those. But to catch big mutton snappers consistently on the patch reefs, all throughout the winter months into early spring, requires skill and patience, okay? So if you're fishing with a guide that understands that, cut him some slack. Okay, when you're catching 100 fish and they're all undersized, cut the guide some slack. So he's doing what he can, and let him show you how to catch the big ones, okay? Because that's what it's going to take. Okay, so I got to wrap this up today. So I'm going to leave you with a tackle tip. When the weather gets cold, make sure that you get a hold of some live goggle eyes, okay? Live goggle eyes. And those live goggle eyes, if you present them right, you will get a wahoo bite with live goggle eyes. I'm not a fan of live speedos. Live speedos do get a lot of bites, okay? But one thing about live speedos is it's such a big bait and you're using small hooks, so it can be really challenging to stay connected with those fish. But with live goggle eyes, it's a gulp bite. The wahoo go crazy for them. They love the big eyes, the vibration, and they're readily available in the Florida Keys on certain areas of the reef. But I have no clue how to catch them, so that's something you're going to have to figure out for yourself. So I buy mine from Ernie and Travis Patone, Feeding Frenzy Live Bait. You can call Ernie at 305-522-3207. You're going to need to call ahead and order them, okay? So, and when you call them, make sure that you guys are ordering more than a dozen. So it just, honestly, when you call and just order a dozen, for a live bait guy, it doesn't make sense to do that. So you'll need to order them in 2 to 3 dozens, and then make sure you get a bait pen and you can keep them in the pen where you're staying, and then you'll have them there and you can feed them. So Ernie takes care of his baits. His he comes from a family of generational Florida Keys fishermen. He knows how to get the bait where it moves, okay? He's a generational fisherman. There's a difference, and there's a lot of new live bait guys coming down here. A lot of new live bait guys. These guys, a lot of them are not from the Keys, so bait moves differently, and when you start jumping from bait supplier to bait supplier for price, when it comes time to get reliable bait, and you go back to a guy like Ernie, and if you quit going like to a reliable live bait guy and you jump to another guy for price, and when it comes time when that other guy doesn't have them and you go back to your reliable guy, he's probably not going to sell them to you, because that's just how it works. So just a little piece of advice and a tackle tip here for you today, guys. I gotta go. Thank you guys for listening. I'll try to put out another podcast here this week for a tackle tip, probably on Saturday, but as of right now, it's hard to say. It just depends on my schedule and how things roll. Make sure you tune in to Brooke Chris Outdoors YouTube channel. Check out Good Karma Sport Fishing in action. That's all I got. Thanks for listening. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.